cannot imagine a world where Max Verstappen and Lando Norris can drive side by side and be teammates without killing each other. I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe McLaren's onto something, but I just don't see that. Maybe in video game world, sure. Maybe when you're behind the wheel at 2 o'clock in the morning, sure. But in reality, I just don't see it.
Welcome to the paddock, F1 with Greeny and The Cheese. We're caffeinated, we're medicated. It's a podcast by fans for fans. Your dose of F1 news. All the races, all the tracks, and all the drama. Coming up on today's show.
Yes. You know what that's up, me. It's time for In the Paddock F1. Greeny and The Cheese. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Hit that subscribe and like when you haven't yet. Hope you're out here at the channel. No race this week, but that means it's time for an In the News.
In the news.
Special. In the news, we got actually pretty good help of the news this week. Shockingly enough.
Whole lot of meat, cheese on a 12-inch sourdough bun. Shove in your face in this off week. Cheese, how are you, sir?
I am good, sir. How are you? We are caffeinated. We are medicated as well.
Sorry, I didn't mean to stomp all over your thunder there and steal your drop on your lines. In the paddock, Greeny and The Cheese. Thanks always for joining us. Coming off of a back here. Now we got a little in the news to settle down. And of course, the news piles up when we have race after race. And it looks like it's piled up. It looks like silly season has begun early. As we sit here and see, it seems like the linchpin here seems to be Max Verstappen. But before we get into that, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. It helps the algorithm, and it helps all of us. Yeah, late night last night as I stayed up to watch that joke of a fight. This isn't a UFC show. This is a F1 show.
I had a late night myself, too.
Party time. Summertime is party time. All right? And,
Well, it wasn't really partying, but it's up on the sim wheel, so...
all right, sounds like a party. I went to a bar down in South Jersey to watch Mini Mania, little people wrestle each other and smack each other in the heads with garbage cans. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit later. But cheese, more importantly, the silly season, Max Verstappen. I guess he's going to be, like I said before, the linchpin of this whole process and where other drivers would go if Max leaves Red Bull and goes anywhere else, or if he retires and that seat opens up. Looks like that's going to cause the wheel to spin, but give me what you're hearing and how you're feeling about the 2027 silly season.
With Max, with a bunch of rumors with Max. Big one right now is him going to possibly be going to McLaren. So that's a linchpin with a bunch of things there. Piastri's manager came out and denied rumors that he was leaving McLaren and going to Red Bull in kind of a swap. And Max would then go to McLaren. David Croft is reporting that Red Bull are also keeping an eye on Ollie Bearman to possibly take over Max's seat if Max leaves Red Bull or retires or whatever. So, a couple interesting tidbits there. I mean, it all comes down to Max and a lot of rumors. Max is pissed as hell right now with the rear wing didn't close again properly back at Silverstone, and that's why he crashed out when he went to the stow. He didn't have full downforce. That's why the car got all snappy on him. He had that issue back when.
That's a whole other problem. That's a whole other problem, and it's a whole other thing. And Adrian Newey, as I'm sure you have in your pile of stuff there, mentioned regretfully he should have been listening to the drivers and getting some feedback there. And it looks like the whole linchpin with this whole thing with Max Verstappen might have gone all the way back to Adrian Newey trying to be maybe a little arrogant, a little arrogance from the old man, and cause this whole, for a lack of better term, Rube Goldberg machine, if you get the reference, to begin. And, when, the marble hits the domino and the dominoes go down and flips a coin into a bowl. And you know what I'm talking about. You've seen the Rube Goldberg. But that's what happened, and it's a long process, and you're seeing the end of what looks like an 18-month, 2-year process here. We talked about over and over again the Christian Horner effect in all of this. We talked about all of that, and it's going back, and now you're seeing the effect of that. You're seeing the little bit of sloppiness. You saw it firsthand. Max Verstappen easily cruising to a podium against all odds, once again, at Silverstone, and just blows it with, in the most frustrating fashion. So, of course, he's got to be pissed as hell. Of course, now you're immediately talking about him changing teams and looking at who are the designers and the engineers that are not going to put him in that situation. That's clearly what Max Verstappen is saying. I want to find a team of engineers and designers that are never going to put me in that situation again, and who are going to listen to what I said. And are going to take my feedback and my teammates' feedback into consideration. And one more thing before I throw it back to you, as I just cut you off there. I cannot imagine a world where Max Verstappen and Lando Norris can drive side by side and be teammates without killing each other. I just cannot see that world. I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe McLaren's onto something, but I just don't see that. Maybe in video game world, sure. Maybe when you're behind the wheel at 2 o'clock in the morning, sure. But in reality, I just don't see it. Throw it back to you.
Well, I can't see that working whatsoever, to be honest, either. Way too different egos. And Max just has a certain persona to him. So, honestly, I don't think he would have a better position of where he is with the team. Because what he says kind of right now at Red Bull is kind of what they do. He's kind of like the team principal without being the team principal in a way. Because they want him to stay. They don't want to lose him. Everybody else has left the farm or got canned. So, and a lot of people still keep leaving the team. So I think there's a lot of turnover, things like that. Now, just he leave just to go get a better car? Absolutely, he could absolutely do it. But I'm not so sure that's really going to happen at this point. I think he has a lot more pull at Red Bull, or Team Verstappen in general does, at Red Bull. I don't know what you think on that, but I just don't see a move to McLaren and teaming with Norris being a healthy situation at all.
Listen, the tabloids would love it. The tabloids would be eating that up every day.
Absolutely.
But in reality, those are two egos that, and when a push comes to shove, you can't have two number ones. That's not how the sport was really designed. I guess you can go back to the days of Senna and
Senna and Prost when they would almost wreck each other out.
I guess that's probably few times, but you really don't. you really don't. You have your number one and your number two driver for a reason, and that's just the way the sport is designed. In my opinion, I could be dead wrong. Lando and Max can go and join forces at McLaren and win 5 straight. Max wins 3, Lando wins 2, and the team is cranking, and they're listening to all the feedback from 2 fantastic drivers that are going to give wonderful feedback, and the team is going to absorb it. I really feel that Zach Brown is and has absorbed a lot of information from his drivers and gives that feedback possibly a little differently. That's why they won a championship. And, broke that streak of Red Bull and shoved their nose in there. But if that's the way he feels, that's where he's going to go. He's going to go wherever he wants to go. He owns the sport. Like Lewis Hamilton owns the sport. Could have went anywhere. Thinking that, 5 years ago that Lewis Hamilton was going to leave Mercedes and go to Ferrari blows your mind, right? If you go back,
ludicrous to think that he was going to leave. It was ludicrous to think back when he left McLaren to go to Mercedes. I mean, there was no way you thought he was leaving McLaren.
No, especially
Absolutely
from Merck
no
back
way.
then. Obviously, we see Merck from a much different lens 15 years later.
Absolutely now.
Right,
Yes.
but at the time when it was McLaren, then Red Bull's domination back in the Vettel days, but man, I really think that it's all about where Max goes. It's all about where he feels most comfortable. He has a lot of choices, but to your point, Cheese, and you made a great point, that Max owns the Red Bull company. Maybe not financially speaking, but he is the guy on that team. And he can run the show any way he wants. When you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company that you have your thumb on the pulse of the company, that's a lot of power to have. And he's not going to have that at McLaren, especially not off the bat. Maybe 5 years and 4 titles later he'll have that. That's going to be a lot of work. And does he want to put that work in? After putting a decade of work in at Red Bull, do you want to start over again somewhere else? I don't know. I can't get into his head. I guess we won't know. We'll probably have a little more clarity maybe after the summer break. But that's where my head's at, man. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him going anywhere, but you never know. You never know. Moving on. Yes, you did touch on him for a second there, but Adrian Newey has come out and said that probably should have listened to their team drivers for the Aston Martin project in developing their car. I mean, that's kind of, guys in the car probably want to listen to what they're saying.
Yeah, same thing as the Red Bull thing, right? It's the same thing with Newey and Red Bull. He's doing the same exact thing. The Rube Goldberg machine is now started at, but they gave massive amounts, and Lawrence Stroll gave massive amounts of confidence and power, as he should, to Adrian Newey. And can we admit that it's pretty possible that over the last 5 years, Adrian Newey has significantly lost a step in his finger on the pulse of the Formula One world and the engineering side of things? Can we admit that he's probably not the best in the world as he once was renowned for? Maybe he's been slipping for years, and it's always tough. It's always tough when you're that good. And when, again, it's confidence, it's arrogance, it's a lot of things mixed into one. And we all fall into this trap when we get really good at a job or really confident in what we do. We may all fall into this trap. So I'm not trying to beat him up, Adrian Newey, but damn, Aston Martin's terrible. Like, you don't think they could get worse, and then they got worse.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's lost the step. I think the major thing was putting him in the team principal role and also being in charge of developing the car. You can't wear both those hats.
Yeah. And you were pretty adamant about that, honestly. Going back, you were pretty adamant about that when that happened, and you did say that.
You can't be developing the car and running a Formula One team. Like, you can't be doing both. And I think it was too many hats. He had never been a team principal before. never had everything that comes with that on his plate along with developing the car. Do I think he still sees air? Yeah, I don't think he just lost that. And I also think he's a little bit, I definitely agree with you that he definitely got a little cocky and said, I don't have to listen to the drivers. I'm going to develop, design it the way I see it and go with that. Definitely think that as well. Here's another one for you, and I'm so excited to hear your response to this one.
Oh, God.
Your boy, James Vowles, team principal of Williams, has come out and said that the team is going to reset and come back swinging at the upcoming Belgian Grand Prix. After their update package they brought to Silverstone was kind of a disaster, to be honest. What's your thoughts on James Vowles saying they're coming back with a vengeance?
Listen, for a guy who worked under Toto Wolff for all those years, I don't think, and again, a lot of why, quote unquote, my boy, which I don't know, like, I was pumped for him to go to Williams and take over that role. It obviously has failed miserably. I don't know if that makes him my boy, per se, but at the same time, looking back at it, I think he needed a little more seasoning. I think he needs to channel and utilize. Obviously, I don't think Toto Wolff's going to be helping him out much or giving him too much advice to help him out to be competitive, but they're nowhere near in the same sphere. I don't know where he lost it as far as it's just the classic, right place at the right time, maybe, how he ended up in this position. You work for a great company and that wins championships, and you're going to be wanted. But not to make excuse, that's how he ended up in the role. And looks like he's done everything possible to not keep this job. I don't know how you keep James Vowles employed as team principal the way he is. He's not equipped. Williams is terrible. I mean, he's right there with Aston Martin. I mean, not as bad, but just talented drivers wasted. I know a lot, weird name to mention, but it was a guy like Logan Sargent or something like that. Just wasted talent. Feel young, wasted talent over and over and over again. And I think you're seeing the same thing, with Alex Albon right now, who I think if he was in any of the top 4 teams would be a significant driver, but just too much going on there. I think it's time for James Vowles to leave and either take a different role within the team and promote someone else or make some kind of move. Williams has the finances to spend if they feel confident, and obviously they don't feel confident to spend under James Vowles. So I don't know. I can't get in the heads of what's happening in the C-suite over at the Williams, HQ. But those are my thoughts. I don't know how you feel about Vowles there.
Probably might be time for him to go because there has been not much improvement in the team's performances overall. I mean, they get those rarities when, Sainz does something kind of special with a rubbish car. But outside of that, it's pretty dismal. I mean, they put a lot of time in developing the 2026 car. They basically stopped developing the 25 car in like March or something they just bailed on it and put everything into this car, and it's pretty much rubbish. I mean, it's pretty much rubbish. They got, probably one of the better power plant in the car, but the car just doesn't perform.
Gambled and you lost. You gambled and you lost big time. And there's a price to pay when you gamble and you lose. You gambled on the 2026 car. You flushed 2025 down the season. And, honestly, I see more Williams gear around here and people out and about in Williams hats, shirts, and stuff like that than just about any other team. Honestly, I see a lot of Williams gear. People got into it, I think, a couple years ago, and people were sold on Williams, and a lot of newer fans to the sport, whether brought in by, Drive to Survive, or whether it might be, I think over the last 5 years, newer U.S. fans became Williams fans. There's the history there. There's a lot there. And they had an opportunity to build a fan base. I see it. I see it with my eyes walking around town, younger fans, U.S. fans who are obviously new to the sport, most likely, in their Williams gear. And it's disappointing, as I'm wearing my Haas hat, but it's disappointing overall. And the fact that, Cadillac might be better, quicker, that Audi, is far and away better than anything Williams is doing. And Williams definitely should be better than Audi at this point. I don't... Based on everything from 2025, Williams should be performing better than Audi, and they're not. They're not even close.
I absolutely agree with that 100%. I mean...
That's all I got to say about that.
It's been bad at Williams for a very long time.
It ain't getting better anytime soon.
To be honest, I mean, probably since Frank passed away. Probably since that. Since then the team's been, sold. There's not even a Williams actually working at Williams. So it's just been a mess for a long, long time. A team that's got storied history in the sport, and it's an absolute shame. But it's the reality, and the team just hasn't been relevant in a very, very long time.
Who was the last consistent point scorer for Williams? Massa?
Probably, yeah.
Probably the last consistent scorer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Young Botas, but he wasn't really scoring points back then. All right, Cheese. Let's wrap it up, sir. Where are we heading next?
Spa next week.
Let's go, baby. The longest,
Belgian
strongest. Let's see what this new battery system does. I'm very curious to see what this new battery
I'm very curious to see how that's going to work. And that's going to work at Spa. I'm definitely curious on how that's going to be at Spa.
It's going to be very, very interesting, sir. As always, bring us home, brother.
Stay medicated, my friends. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.
With Greeny and The Cheese, coming live from the U.S. of A. Podcast Groove, the boys bring you the F1 news, everything you need, so you know just what to do. And it's all alright, 'cause they do it right. In the paddock with Greeny and The Cheese. In the paddock with Greeny and The Cheese. In the paddock with Greeny and The Cheese. Ferrari's gonna drive you crazy. Mad Max, he's so amazing. McLaren, Merc, and more. In the paddock with Greeny and The Cheese. And they know their way around the track. When you need the facts, you can trust them. They won't steer you wrong. Always right on time. They know their way around a microphone. And it's all right, 'cause they do it right. In the paddock with Greeny and The Cheese.